So, as part of our Meet the Makers series of interviews, I am checking in with Sarah Marshall, who is the woman behind Marshall's Haute sauce, which is an artisan line of sauces, and you're based in Portland. So, kind of just let's dive in. How have the past few months been for you? What's been going on since like March?
Well, a lot. So you have been here before, and you know that our situation is a little bit unique. So our commercial kitchen is in our house. So not a lot has changed as far as production goes. We can still produce, and it's just me producing. So it's not like I have to worry about social distancing and things like that. We don't have a team of people, so it's just me and my husband. But the things that have really changed are more in how we're selling and interacting with people because, you went through one of our tastings that we did here. We host a lot of Airbnb experiences normally where we do sauce tastings and people are welcomed into our home and they try all of our stuff and they meet us. And we also do, I do canning classes and farmers market cooking classes. So that's a big part of what has changed because we aren't able to do those anymore for now. So we're doing more interaction online like this through Zoom meetings and things like that, trying to still stay connected with our community and with people. And then the farmers market has changed a lot since we last saw you. We usually have a stand there. And they had to limit the amount of farmers at the farmers market. So they asked for people who it wasn't essential to come to the market every week if we had other avenues of selling. So I volunteered to not be part of the farmers market, which is heartbreaking. And it's hard for me to not be there. So I was missing it so much. Now, instead of having a stand there, I volunteer at the market. So I'm still there. But yes, those are some of the just very big changes that I can think of for
Yeah.
right now. But
Well,
it's a
and
lot.
you source the majority of your products locally. Have you seen any impact for the farmers or being able to source the ingredients that you need to make your sauces?
No, that hasn't been a problem at all. I think, a lot of our farmers source to restaurants. So if anything, there's an abundance of stuff that's available for us. So that is, the same. I can still do the regular seasonal things I do. So we just did our strawberry rhubarb ghost hot sauce that we make every year because I can still access the farms and I can still get to them very easily. So that part hasn't really changed. It's just the farmers market is different. Usually I'm so connected with everyone there and I love the farmers market and I love to meet all the people, and we usually have a lot of tourists and it's how we meet people from all over the world. And so now instead, usually they encourage people to hang out and interact and eat food and talk to all of us. And then now it's like, it's like an assembly line. Like, it's just like, come in, get your food. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. But you got to go, because we can only have a certain amount of people at the market at a time. And that's never been something that has happened before. So we just kind of have to move people through the market.
Yeah. What's the name of the market that you're talking about?
So we have so many farmers markets throughout the city, but Portland Farmers Market is an organization in itself, and they run 5 farmers markets around the city. And so they're around in different areas, and then we all come together for the big Saturday Portland State University Farmers Market. So that's the one that I'm volunteering at, and then I usually have a stand at. And I think, hopefully I can come back to the market soon, or will come back to the market soon. They've got a little bit extra space, so they have to space out everybody's booths by 6 feet. So that's why they needed less vendors. And then if they had less vendors, it could mean more shoppers, which is better for the farmers. So, for us, our mission and our values lie in supporting agriculture and supporting farmers. So it just felt right to be like, you have your farmers market space. I'll still come buy everything from you, but I'll come back when it's okay to do that. So that's
So
a big change for us.
yeah, that's a huge change.
Yeah.
And And to your point, I mean, it's not just a shopping experience. I mean, you're connecting with community. You're
Yeah.
connecting with people who are tourists, and I'm sure that tourism is down. That's a big impact. But some farmers markets are doing like drive-through. Is that what's happening in?
Well, it's so the Portland Farmers Market organization isn't doing the drive-through farmers market, but some farmers markets in this area are. So the Beaverton Farmers Market and I think Hillsborough too. And so how that works is that people place their orders the night before, and then they can just drive up to each stand and pick up their already ready stuff. And so I think that system works for smaller markets because you couldn't possibly do it. You would need like a racetrack to be able to do it at the bigger city markets, but it is working for some of those smaller ones.
Well, I think that one of the bright sides of what's going on, people are understanding how important a local and regional food system is. They're realizing how fragile the industrialized food system is. I mean, with all of the scare of the meat plants closing down and all of these supply chain issues. When it's local and regional, the supply is the farmer grows the food, brings the food to the market, and sells it to you. It's a direct relationship, which is totally different from the kind of like supermarket model that people have gotten used to.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that I hope people are, I think people are understanding and getting that really, if you can, to always buy directly from the makers and the farmers and the producers, because especially when we're not selling as much in other avenues like the farmers market or in stores, because even for us, we sell a lot in a lot of gift stores. Well, those are all closed. And so we really need people to still support us by shopping from us directly. So anytime you can do that, I would encourage it, because especially at a time that everything is changing, that money goes straight to us so we can keep buying supplies. Because, for my business, everything is so seasonal and I have to buy stuff right now. And I can only really buy stuff right now if I'm selling things right now. So it's just kind of this system that's really important. And so far it's been great. Our online sales have gotten better because people now know to buy from us. So the farmers market is doing a really great thing too. If you don't see the people at the market that you are looking for, they have a section where it's like, here they are, they can buy from you. And we started doing what we're calling a virtual farmers market. So the stuff that we normally sell at the market, we just list for the weekend and people can go and find it, and then I'm just dropping it to their door. So we can have like contactless delivery, and so our regular market shoppers can still find us that way. So that was something we just kind of had to come up with on the fly, like, how am I going to get sauce to my people that I love and want to see and stay connected to? So they've kind of figured it out over the last couple of months.
Well, and you just made another good point, which is makers like you, because you specifically source from local farmers rather than just ordering wholesale from whoever,
Yeah.
you're supporting, I mean, all of the money stays in the Portland community. It is truly a network where the dollars, when someone who lives in Portland buys your sauce, they're in turn supporting the livelihood of those farmers who are also part of their community.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. That's like what's important to us is not, of course we want to have this business, but our business model is really to support other people, to support agriculture, to support our local farmers. And, we make a commitment to, we source from farms that we know and love, but they're not always the bigger farms. A lot of times they're very small and people just starting out. And for them, it's very exciting because I can be like, I'll buy all the tomatillos you grow. And, to me, it'll be a few hundred pounds, which is a lot of tomatillos, but I need more than that. So like, it's exciting for them, but it's also exciting for me because sometimes I'm their first customer that's buying more than like a sack full of 10 tomatillos, So it's pretty cool to be able to support that. And we've still been able to stay connected to everybody, which is great.
So for people who aren't familiar with your product, so kind of like, Give me the backstory. How did all this happen for you? Why did you launch a line of sauces? Because I mean, it really is tied to your personal values. Like, it doesn't sound like you just said, I want to become an entrepreneur and I feel like, launching a line of sauces. Like some people do. They'll be like, I have my grandmother's recipe and I'm going to launch this. I mean, it sounds like your backstory was much more driven by wanting to make an impact on the community.
Yeah, went to school for social work, so I worked for nonprofits here running group homes for different youth. And so I did a lot of like the family interaction and skill building and trying to teach families how to do things together. That ended up being a lot of cooking, canning, artwork, all of that stuff. But then I was getting food from the food bank, which our Oregon food bank is a lot of stuff is donated from grocery stores that's going to expire, but a lot of things are donated from farmers. And so a lot of times you'll get, if you're on the food bank, if you're getting food, they'll just say, oh, this farmer is going to donate 100 pounds of apples at the farmer's market. You can go pick them up. And then I'd be like, I can make so much applesauce for the kids, So I would go do that. And I had to become certified then to be able to have the food at the group homes. But then as I did social work longer and longer, I was finding more joy in the cooking and canning and creative process, and just realizing that I wanted to try it and see how it went. So at that time, there wasn't a lot of local sauce companies, or the local food movement really was about the farmers. So I was like, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. And, I made like 12 bottles of sauce at a time, and you could get your home kitchen license back then as a domestic commercial kitchen. So I did that, and I already knew a lot of the farmers that I could source from. So that was pretty cool. That relationship was already there. And then I kind of thought I would just do it for a little while and go back to social work. But then I kind of realized that, it was, in a sense, it was kind of the same. I was a little bit more connected to the community in this way. And so I just, kept doing it. And we try to, I still focus on the places I worked at, the organizations that I worked at. We do a lot of donating to youth organizations because my heart is still there. I'm just doing it in a different way,
And I do also want to touch on the laws in Oregon that make it easier than in a lot of other places around the country to launch a small business like yours out of your house. Can you talk about, you mentioned you got a license to be able to create a product in your kitchen. Talk about your setup, because she makes all of her sauces in her basement. And I remember when I came for the shoot for our second season, I pulled up and I was like, this is her house. And just, I mean, not every state, certainly not every city, allows for those types of cottage industry licenses. So can you talk about that and the impact that you think it has?
Yeah, so in Oregon, we have a couple different things, and there's different, it's called something different in different states. So the cottage license is, they do that in California. Here it's called a domestic commercial kitchen. And so that's what I had in a different house than you came to when you were here. And so that is when you just use your regular kitchen, and you come in and you're audited and inspected by the Department of Agriculture, and you get your process approved by a processing authority. Your products are tested for safety. There's all these different things that you do. You go to a processing control school, you do all this stuff. And I did that, but I very quickly outgrew my kitchen because it was just like, I couldn't live in it and produce in it. So then we rented a commercial kitchen. And then the house that you came to was a house that we found that someone had built a commercial kitchen separate from the regular kitchen. And it was already licensed through the city. And so we lived not far. So we sold our house and bought this one. So it was just kind of, all luck coming together to be able to do that.
And when you're talking about the fact that you have these tastings and Airbnb experiences, people are coming to your home.
They are, yeah. I mean, just part of what I wanted to create and do. I wanted people to feel connected to us and to know us. And it is very unique. Our situation is very unique because we are, people see our sauces everywhere. And they're like, I see your sauces in, New York and wherever it is. And I think that makes them think that we have this big operation. But we just work really hard and a lot. and we, every single bottle of sauce that is out in the world, I have made, because that was something that was important to me, because, I have a background in canning and preserving, and I learned to do that from my family. It's what I wanted to pass on to those other families in the group homes, because it was just something I was really passionate about, but I wanted to keep doing it in that way. So these sauces that I've created are made by me for you, and I think that's rare in the commercialized food system. So I just have always worked really hard to keep it that way. So sometimes if I get a bigger order, it means I'm working a lot, but it's worth it because I want to keep doing it the way I started doing it.
Great. So we talked a little bit about, how the pandemic has kind of impacted you. It's impacted the farmers market. I mean, obviously we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know what the next, like right now, today, we're starting to hear news reports about, some states are seeing new spikes and all of this kind of stuff. And it just feels like this roller coaster. So
Sure.
like, as a small business, how do you plan? What are you doing to try to, hold on until things kind of somewhat normalize?
I think for me, the key is not to plan, really. We're just kind of taking everything day by day because we don't really know what's going to happen. So at first, I think I was trying to come up with a plan and was like, what am I going to do? But then it's like, well, I don't know. I don't know because nobody knows. This is all very new territory. But I think the thing that's cool that we're kind of all doing here, and again, it's just like, it kind of shows how connected we all are in this city. So, I'm part of a bunch of different food groups. So I have like, this Pacific Northwest makers group, and it's all different people that make things here in town. And we have like a Google group. So we can all go on and be like, hey, what does anybody know about this, or what's going on, or what are you doing about shipping, or how can I do this more efficiently? If we're all doing pork chops, why don't we do it together? Like things like that. And so the maker community has really banded together, which is cool, because I think what's happened is when you're so used to being around so many people and then all of a sudden you're isolated, it can be very hard. It can be very hard to make decisions on your own. And so, I also have this radio show where we interview other female makers. And so just being able to connect to those people and hear what's going on for them, I think is really important because I think, no one really knows, but if we at least have each other and can talk about it, it at least helps so that it doesn't seem like we can get through it together, it like gives everybody a little bit of hope. So I think that's what's worked for me, is to just take things day by day, stay connected with people, be talking to people, be asking them what they're doing, and then just do the best that we can,
Yeah. So you mentioned your radio show, so plug it for me. Tell me
Yeah.
where everybody can find you.
So it's on iTunes and Stitcher, and it's called The Meaningful Marketplace, Masoni and Marshall. So my friend Sarah Masoni, who is a food scientist at Oregon State University, she works at the Food Innovation Center. We just interview women who have started food businesses and help to tell their stories and bring customers to them. So you can listen live on Fridays at 9 a.m. at startupradionetwork.com, or you can find it on podcast platforms.
And if people want to track down your sauces, how do they do that?
Yeah, you can get those on our website. It's Marshall's Haute Sauce, HAUTE sauce.com, and you can get them there. Or you can find us on Instagram under Sarah Spicy Marshall or Marshall's Haute Sauce.
Perfect. And you have a cookbook. Can I plug that too?
I do, yeah.
Everything.
I know, so many things to plug. My cookbook is called Preservation Pantry, and you can get it on Kindle on Amazon. It's the best place to do that.
Sarah, thank you for taking some time out of your day to check in with me and tell me how you're doing. I'm glad that things are going well. It sounds like, it sounds like you're really kind of making your way through this current situation, and I'm really glad to hear that you're doing well.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for talking to me, and thanks for doing a show about us makers here. I think that helps bring people to us at this time too. So we really appreciate that.
Absolutely. I hope to see you soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.